All right, guys, so here's a big one. I've talked about this in other videos. Let me explain why I stopped doing hypnosis. I'll explain this on other videos. I realized very, very quickly that when I was spending all of my time trying to put a client into trance, I was wasting valuable time. So let's say I only had an hour with a client. If it took me half an hour, just for example, to do the deepness, to do the language patterns, to do the regressions, to do all of that sort of stuff, the visualization, feeling safe, all that sort of stuff, I was spending a lot of time in the place doing the things that were not necessary for the breakthrough. Throughout my career, I started to realize that my clients were pretty much having a breakthrough before the hypnosis started. Isn't that weird to think about? Furthermore, as I progressed more the way through my career, I realized that the less time I concentrated on the hypnosis, the more time I had to do on the therapy and the better the therapy began. And then I started some experiments. Now I was taught this way by my mentor, but I used to dismiss it. I was so confused with this part. It didn't make sense to me because I wanted to do the hypnosis stuff, the hypnotherapy, but it didn't make sense to me when my mentor was saying you do the therapy first. And I was thinking, okay, how does that work? Later on, I realized exactly what he was talking about, and I was doing it vicariously anyway. So I realized if I do the therapy first, if my client was to go into trance, go into this place deep, whatever it is, all they were doing was just bringing all their bullshit with them. They're bringing all this baggage. And I realized at that point, they became very resistant. They became very argumentative. So if I tried to do the hypnosis first, like close your eyes and deepener, and I only did this a couple of times and realized that's not what happens. That's not how it works. I realized they were very resistant. They weren't going that way. I mean, I could imagine saying to my lawyers who are really analytical and overthinkers, hey, close your eyes and go deeper and float. They would look at me and laugh and say, what the hell are you doing? I just want to quit smoking. So my way around that to deal with resistance and to spend more time on the therapy was to actually do the therapy first. We call these untying knots. And the more knots I untied, the more, more I help my client clear up or clean up all that dirtiness inside of their mind. By the time they got to the trance place, this became a byproduct. And I noticed something very, very cool. That byproduct trance that happened as a result of doing the therapy first, before we even mentioned hypnosis, never really mentioned anyway, but you sort of get my point on the timeline of doing the therapy. It was such a different type of trance. It was a trance like the unconscious mind was just waiting to give them the breakthrough. So I'd deal with all the mess at the start. And then as a result of that, I'm asking them questions in the hypnotic interview, looking for unconscious moments. If you want to learn more about that, guys, I've got some videos talking about unconscious moments and stuff. The more deep they went into the conversation, the more information they gathered, which was unconscious. The trance from that, because there was a lot of mental energy going on, by the time they popped into this thing called trance, which was organically made, not man-made by me telling a client to go deeper, the breakthroughs were spontaneous. They were like, wow, they were incredible. But when I was using the traditional stuff, the couple of times I'd use it just to test, it was so long and boring and arduous. And I see this a lot with a lot of therapists now, pretty much every other traditional type of school. All the time spent on the hypnosis part, a couple of minutes just spent on the therapy. Flip it around, guys. If you're finding that you're having to spend multiple sessions, audios, multiple packages, giving homework and giving audios and stuff, and you're basically just repeating the same thing, banking on the unconscious mind loves repetition. That's just another conclusion that therapists have made up, which is not true either. You're spending all of your time on there. The result of that is you're just dealing with a symptom. We know that. So by doing the therapy first, the type of breakthrough and the type of trance will be so different because it's made from the person. Their unconscious mind. Think about the power of this. Your client's unconscious mind will take them as deep as they need to go, give them all the resources they need, will do everything it needs to do because it's vastly more intelligent than you as the therapist anyway. And you don't have to do a goddamn thing except clean up all the mess. And also to this, it stops you dealing with resistance. It's very, very easy for a client to resist you starting when you pull out a script and say, hey, close your eyes and go deeper. What are you alerting your client? That, hey, I'm about to start. And if a client has any small doubt about what you're going to do, shields go up, okay, for lack of better words, and the resistance starts. So if you're finding your clients very resistant, that can be the reason because you've triggered that resistance by showing them about to start. But I sort of move on from there. So the reason I stopped doing hypnosis is because I realized I was doing things backwards, okay? Spending more time on the hypnosis than the therapy. But I realized if I flip that around and do the therapy first, the hypnosis part was a byproduct. Didn't even need to be there sometimes. Sometimes it was literally just a conversation with my client, but I'm listening out for the unconscious moments. I'm untying those knots. But my client looks at me and says, hey, Scott's just good at conversation. This is really easy. And all of a sudden I have this massive breakthrough. There is still a lot of therapy. There's a lot of maneuvers to this. It's not talk therapy. Okay. So don't get that mixed up. It's not the language patterns and all that sort of stuff. But if we do the therapy first, I didn't have to worry about the hypnosis. Then I didn't have to put pressure on myself to think, okay, can my client go into trance? Are they suggestible? I've got to read this 2-hour script. Spend time on the breakthrough. And that's what we mean by ACH, Advanced Conversational Hypnosis. You've seen in the testimonies with our students having massive client breakthroughs in just 45 minutes or an hour, no multiple sessions, no audios, no homework thing. And how the hell are they doing that? This is how. They're doing the therapy first. And they're doing the therapy first actually easier this way because there is no resistance from your client. So instead of worrying about the hypnosis and the depth and, showing off as a hypnotist, show how deep you can get the, the rapid inductions, all that sort of stuff, do the therapy first. And that's literally why I stopped doing hypnosis and started doing the therapy. Then the hypnosis became a byproduct. Later on through my career, I didn't even worry about that stuff. So if you have a concern like, oh, my client's really worried about hypnosis, they're asking about hypnotherapy and hypnosis. When you learn ACH, you do it well enough, you're not doing hypnosis anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so they've got nothing to be scared about. All they think about is just a regular conversation. But you as a therapist have been highly trained to look for those unconscious moments, untie those knots. Within a half an hour conversation, your clients had a massive breakthrough and had no idea when it started or how you did it. And there's been no trance stuff to actually worry them or scared them.